Welcome back to Uprising. I'm Sonali Kolhatkar. A new United Nations report has found that women worldwide earn significantly less than men, even though they're working longer hours. Despite the growing visibility of women in higher tiers of the corporate world, by and large, women are nowhere close to achieving wage parity. Here in the United States, women are ranked 65th in wage parity as raised by presidential candidate Hillary Clinton in her recent address to the Women in the World Summit in New York City. Now, Caroline Fredrickson, president of the American Constitution Society, details the myriad ways in which women are being thrown, quote, under the bus, which is actually the title of her new book. Caroline Fredrickson is also a senior fellow at Demos and has written about many important constitutional issues. She's also the former director of the ACLU's Washington Legislative Office and was general counsel and legal director of NARAL Pro-Choice America. Welcome to Uprising, Caroline.
Thank you so much, Sonali. It's a pleasure to be on.
Now, broadly speaking, I suppose we shouldn't at all be surprised at the global state of women's workplace inequality. It's this concrete measure of historical sexism that's been around probably as long as our species has, right?
Well, you know, it's hard to know actually how much has been around since the beginning and how much we've just seen happen through culture and discrimination and so forth. So I always hesitate to sort of agree to that kind of a scenario because it makes it sound almost like it's a natural occurrence and that it's built into the genders.
Right. Now, your book focuses primarily on women in the U.S. and as the world's supposedly most wealthy and advanced nation, a beacon for democracy and equality, is it all the more shocking given how low we rank on a global scale for things like women's wages? And in fact, where are we on the global scale?
Well, you know, I think it's very true. We are not nearly as high as we'd like to think we are. And I think it surprised me actually when I started looking into some of the issues. You know, we have a number of reasons why we don't rank as high. One is that we don't do anything in terms of childcare, really. We have the most minimal provisions for women, lower income women, but only 18% of eligible children even qualify for what our government provides. That's a vast majority of those children who are even in that low income level who can't get in, which affects their mothers very deeply in terms of what kind of jobs they can have, what kind of training and education. And then, of course, we don't have paid family leave, except for the very few, the very lucky, the upper levels of income, and mostly white women, honestly. And actually, men are the ones who most benefit from paid family leave, which is the irony. But then beyond that, in terms of wages, we have not addressed some very important issues of the statutory framework that we have. And this is where I was sort of most surprised, that we think we have this great set of laws that protects women against discrimination, that provides a minimum wage and overtime. But in fact, there are large groups of women who are not protected by those laws. And that leads to a lot of perverse outcomes, such as women who are in domestic work getting worked far more hours than they should be, not making any overtime, not even making a minimum wage, at least not as required by law. And so you have these groups of women who are really falling behind, and no surprise, they tend to be women of color, and many of them are immigrant women.